Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, NFL fans here, there, and everywhere. Welcome on into the Rust Belt Rivalry podcast. We've got Brian, the redshirt fresh fan Philos. We've got Jay Son, the perpetual Philadelphia Eagles hater. Brought to you by Network 216. Jason, how we doing today, buddy?
I'm great, Brian. How are you, man?
Aside from him not having a quarterback that can complete passes, I'm great.
Dude, I saw that the number one highlight from camp this week was the beautiful deep ball that Deshaun Watson threw that was broken up at the very end by Denzel Ward. Like, man, it is slim pickings in Cleveland.
Dude, that's the challenging part. All the Shadorians, which I'm a Shador supporter, right? I wanted them to draft him with the second overall pick last year. Two different coaches, two different challenges with two different, quarterback battles, and still the same results. So, unfortunately, I think the Shadorians just need to hush. He has made improvement, but it's just not looking good. And if you can't beat out Deshaun Watson, who hasn't played competitive football in 4 years, like,
it's been that long. It's not been that long, has it? 2 years, 2 seasons?
I don't know. I don't know the specifics. I'll have to double check. We got Skinner 90210 in the house. What's up, Skinner? Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining us, Skinner. Can't wait to see if you got some takes for us. Like, hit us with some takes.
Yeah, hit us, especially Jason. He's the one that gets all defensive and angry and gets the fans all riled up. So if you've got anything that you can talk trash on the Cowboys or the Lions, bring it at us. Bring it at us.
Love it.
We will have a new guest for the first time joining us. A little different flavor. We'll be talking Lions with him at 9:30. We'll probably start off with the Browns, talk a little Bengals. We'll talk with Lions with the guest, and then a little bit Cowboys to finish things off. So, Jason, is there anything you want to get off your chest before we dive right into it?
Man, there's so much that I want to get off my chest. I mean, I don't necessarily know where to start. I mean,
wow.
In all honesty, like I think it's been a really interesting first couple of weeks of camp. I'm excited to kind of dive into those. I know the Browns, there's a ton of news on the Browns. I think they're going to be interesting all season. Whether they're good or not is kind of secondary, but I think they'll be interesting all season. The Cowboys seem to maybe be figuring things out. I don't know. I mean, I did watch part of their game. I got interrupted in the middle of watching the game at where we were on Saturday night. We won't go into those stories, but we were watching the game. Penalties are still a massive issue. We can get into that later. Bengals played the Lions, so like we had two of our teams playing each other. So a lot of interesting stuff going on. And I think I'm just really. It gets to that point, Brian, of the offseason and the preseason where it's just like, let's start. Let's just freaking start this thing. And I'm there. I'm done with training camp battles and
already.
I'm done with it. Like, let's start the season. Let's put the ball down and let's go. Spot the ball. Let's go.
It's been so exciting though. Like, I mean, maybe not for you. You're like, yeah, Dak Prescott is starting. We have all this. It's like, oh, hopefully the defense is good.
Yeah, you're looking to see what kind of a jersey you're buying this year. Are you buying a Watson jersey? Are you buying a Shador? Are you buying a Gabriel? Who knows? He's the dark horse.
Yeah. I would rather buy a Taylor Green jersey if I had to put money on any quarterback that's actually going to be on the roster next year.
That's fair.
But it was kind of depressing, actually. So behind the scenes, a little peek. Krempa and I were going to do like some little B-roll, some videos. And unfortunately, I'm like, man, what jersey am I going to wear? I'm like, okay, I got this Myles Garrett jersey that's now not relevant, a Baker Mayfield jersey, which hasn't been relevant in years, and a Joe Thomas jersey who hasn't been relevant and doesn't really fit me all that well since it's a schmedium.
It might fit Joe Thomas better now, the way he looks. I mean, he's pretty svelte. But, I mean, I knew that you'd be coming from a place of having no jersey selection. So I was very kind to you. And I think I picked the worst possible jersey in America, going with a Joey Harrington Detroit Lions jersey. I don't know of anything worse than that besides the other jersey I have from the Lions, which is a Charles Rogers, rest in peace, jersey. So I mean, we got some filth. We got some filth, my man.
We got a bunch of people in the chat here. Appreciate the love already. We got Jared. What's up, gentlemen? Uh, Justin's already mad. He's like, shit, I would rather have Johnny Football than Deshaun Watson. Be careful what you wish for, Justin.
He didn't know the playbook. He didn't know how to read a play.
Well, it was too busy doing booger sugar. Nice cans there. Appreciate you. This is a big expense here on Amazon. Uh, but yeah, so I mean, we already kind of touched on it. Let's just dive right into it. I mean, how about you? Let's let you start as an outsider looking in on the Watson and Shador Sanders before I just dive into the abyss here. What are your thoughts on the competition?
Well, kind of does feel like you're diving into an abyss, doesn't it? A little bit with this, like
Yes.
completely, just like yeah. I so you know my take, I think, on this, and I have not changed from where I was draft season to where I am today. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a Shadorian or whatever the hell you call them, but I will say that like I don't care about their preseason numbers. I don't care about they track every pass in practice. It's like, look, there's situations and scenarios put up in practice where the quarterback's not going to be successful. And oh, by the way, the defensive coaches see that offense every day. So it's like, at some point it becomes like, yeah, who cares? But I'm still in the camp of let Sanders play until he just physically cannot do it anymore and shows he cannot do it, because we have always talked about the 2027 draft, all the bullets that are out there in the quarterback market that could possibly be available in 2027. It's like, figure out what you have. Deshaun Watson is probably not the guy. Do you want him even in your organization and in your locker room? That decision needs to be made as well. So I'm just like, let's ride with Sanders until he physically tells you he cannot do it. If that's midseason, you throw Taylor Green in. You're not going to win the Super Bowl this year, so figure it out. Project 29. That's what we're on, Brian. Project 29.
I'm aware. I came to the realization that was the case earlier this year. Uh, Big Mike, what's up? Glad you could join us. Big Mike's going to hate what I have to say next, but Shador doesn't seem to be the answer. He just, I don't know. Like I said, if he can't beat out Deshaun Watson, who still, I mean, some people think, like, if you just listen to the national media, he had a decent preseason game, but there are a lot of things that he still did bad and he didn't catch, and he was keeping his eyes down. And there's this one photo. Everybody's always got a photo from every damn Browns game, but it's like there's one of those still frames of all four wide receivers being NFL wide open, and he instead tucks his head down and goes and runs and like doesn't even run to the opening in the line, like the gap. He runs like right into one of the defenders on a defensive line. I agree with you. I would much rather see Shador Sanders play. Just, it's like, give the man 17 games, see if he can get better, right? That's the only way that you can improve. But the funny thing to me is like when Baker came to the Cleveland Browns, there were plenty of beat reporters and people that went to the practices and were like, man, this is a guy who can actually throw an NFL pass. Like he's crisp. He's always got, and all you hear out of camp this year and last year is like, whoa, we are in trouble. We do not have a quarterback. Like you got Watson's arm is sore after like 2 practices. So I don't know how he's going to hold up in the game. The only strategic advantage, I think, is like the offensive line is pretty much brand new across the board. So you've got 5 guys that are trying to gel. They're going to take some time. They know that if Sanders starts game 1 and 2 on the road and then ends up like sucking, and then they end up having to go to Deshaun Watson, say week 3, the first home game, the fans are going to boo the heck out of him. So my guess is they know Watson is not going to, I mean, let's realize, like, Watson is not going to make it through the year healthy, or, his play is not going to be up to snuff. I think the last 3 or 4 years, we've had at least 3 quarterbacks play every season.
Yep.
So based on the numbers, like that's the reality.
Backup quarterback talk, Brian. Let's go.
I agree. I mean, let's let it rip.
Well, like so, let me play this, for you because it's like see, everyone talks about like when at Colorado, like when under Coach Prime, Dion, whatever. It's like things are coming out about how the fact that like he doesn't, they don't watch film, they don't have like a real offensive system, they don't run any sort of like pro style anything. It was a lot of just like huck and chuck over to Hunter and figure it out, and it's like. So last year he's in the NFL. He's learning how to read Stefanski's offense and run Stefanski's offense. Stefanski only likes left-handed short quarterbacks. He gets booted, and now you got another offensive system. So it's like really, you not only do you need to give them a little bit of time with real NFL coaches that are going to theoretically be here, because I mean Stefanski probably knew he was getting fired week 10 last year, if not earlier. And so it's like, okay, how invested is Stefanski in developing Sanders? So I think you give Sanders actual development with a coach that hopefully can develop him, who's interested in developing him in a system that's an actual NFL style system that, in Monken, he was the OC at Georgia. So he can talk to younger quarterbacks and help teach them. I just think there's not a scenario that I look at here where it's like, yeah, Watson's the right move. It's like, we're not winning it all this year. So why would we put the 11-year vet who's a locker room issue, an injury issue, a media issue, a fan issue? Like, why? I just cannot. It's such a bad organizational move in my mind. But they've done those before. So
they've made plenty of bad decisions before. I mean, at least the arrow is pointing up, and it's like, I think so. I mean, two good drafts in a row. They traded Myles Garrett at a time where like you actually could still get something for him rather than run him in the ground with a team that was only going to win 5 games anyway.
Yeah.
They've got 2 first-round picks in the 2027 draft, which is like gold, right? And even if they do trade up for a quarterback, if they do trade 3 first-round picks, which is pretty much the typical ransom to trade up, a decent amount of spots, then they're only losing out on really 1 year of first-round picks.
Yep.
So I don't know. I've kind of sunken into this hole of depression about this season is just not going to be good. And it doesn't matter which quarterback you roll out there. Like maybe Shador gets better throughout the year, but like I said, with the confidence that is lacking from literally everybody that goes to the practices, I'm like, And then he didn't play well on Sunday.
So gun to your head right now, are you picking Watson as a starter opening day?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, you're not wrong here. Yeah.
I don't. It's fine. It is what it is. The best thing that the Browns could do is lose a bunch of games this year. Case in point, like get a higher pick.
Man. It's August 19th. Come on.
I'm sorry. It's the truth.
I know.
Like we don't have a quarterback on this roster. Like we have now wide receivers that are going to make the quarterback look better. Finally, we have, a decent defense, which is really thin on depth. And you're already seeing that. So I don't know, can they make some noise next year if they end up with the 2nd overall pick and get Julian Sayin or Dante Moore or whoever's after Arch Manning, hell yeah.
Yeah.
They'll then have an offensive line that played a whole year together. They'll have wide receivers that aren't rookies that are supposed to be the future, more draft picks. Like, I don't know. It's already, for me, let's look at 2027. But I also am going to be doing a Browns pregame show every Sunday before the game. So
tune into that.
Yeah. Hopefully my co-host for that is a little more positive on the Browns.
Yeah. Week 1 might be rough.
Week 2 is probably going to be the rough one. That's against Baker Mayfield. And that's going to bring up the feelings for everybody in Cleveland about, could he come back next year? We should have never let him go. And it's like, yeah, revisionist history.
I'm on that camp, but that's a whole show in and of itself. But
Yeah, that's for after the season. That's
yeah,
for
that's
after he blows it out and makes his, I'm good. I'm playing for a contract this year money.
yeah. February 21st, everyone tune in for Brian and I diving into Baker Mayfield and the Browns.
1 week after the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So you brought up an interesting point I wanted to get to really quickly, and it kind of maybe the next topic is you talked about like a defensive depth question.
Yep.
Dive a little bit into that. Talk about like, what are the concerns that they're talking about, and then how are they planning to address that?
So I think I don't know if this was exaggeration or not. I wasn't paying close enough attention. We were a little preoccupied during the Browns preseason game last weekend, but they said something like 5 of our defensive tackles were out, which I know Malik Collins, Mike Hall Jr., I think Kalia Davis were all injured. I don't know about the rest of the guys. So it's like 3 of those guys were injured, and there's just not a whole lot of depth. I mean, really, we've got two good linebackers, and that's it. Like that, I think are good. Our cornerbacks, there's really not a whole lot of depth. You've got Denzel Ward and Tyson Campbell, and after that, a bunch of guys that I'm not even really that familiar with. I mean, we are deep at, I would say safety is probably where we're the deepest, but everything else is kind of like, ugh. And then before when we were talking draft, like I really was hoping they would find somebody as the nickel cornerback to replace Miles Harden, because all he did was get burnt like toast last year. And he's still the number one option. So do you have Mason Graham leads us in sacks? As a defensive tackle, I think Mason Graham is going to have a really huge jump this year. Like they're talking that he is really tearing it up in camp. Not as much as the Bengals fans are like pumping up Dexter Lawrence, like he's like the best player that's ever played. Like he's going to be better than Aaron Donald this year.
He is.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll see. But no, I think he's going to take a huge leap forward. But I really think Skinner, that not having Myles Garrett on this team is really going to expose everybody else. And it also depends kind of on how Malik Collins does. I think when Malik Collins was playing next to Mason Graham last year, he was playing a lot better. Now he also, kind of had the rookie fall off, as most do, but I don't see him leading us in sacks. I think that's going to go straight to Jared Verse.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's rare to see an interior defensive lineman lead the team in sacks. I mean, unless you're a Donald or something, or a Warren Sapp back in the day, very
Right.
special type of a player. Or the other side is you have nobody else on the defensive line that can get pressure, and Mason Graham leads the team with 4.5 sacks. Like that's which I just don't see that being.
Yeah.
The defense is good enough, I think, and Verse is good enough to lead the team in sacks.
I agree. And then on the other side of the ball, I mean, the offensive line did not look great. They could not hold up to the run game. There was several. There's a couple 3rd and 1, 4th and inches that weren't even against the starters on the Bears defense, and they could not get that 1 yard or a couple inches in the run game. So that's pretty terrifying. Again, it's a new offensive line. I don't think they have the right combination of people right now. I don't understand the big love for Tevin Jenkins. He absolutely blew donkey stuff last year. And none of us could understand why he was playing instead of Wyatt Teller. And then we shipped Wyatt Teller off. So there's obviously something to that. But I just didn't have any faith in him last year, and I don't know why it's going to be any better this year. So
who'd they go with what was their starting 5? Left to right?
Starting 5 right now is the rookie Spencer Fano, who was their first draft pick, left tackle. You got Zion Johnson at left guard, who they got from the Chargers in free agency. So obviously the Chargers didn't value him enough to re-sign him. You got Elton Jenkins, the center, who I was really hoping that Parker Brailsford, the rookie center from Florida or Alabama, correct? Yeah, sorry. I was really hoping that he could win that job and move Elton Jenkins to the left guard. or right guard or whatever, because he's played better at guard his whole career as Packers with the Packers. And then you've got Tevin Jenkins at right guard and Titus Howard, who we got from the
Texans.
Texans.
Do I
And
know more about the Browns than you? Like, well, look at this.
hey, listen, I'm bad at multitasking. I'm over here reading off a depth chart, and I'm like, I'm answering your questions. Calm down. My brain's not running as fast as yours is right now. Just cool it.
I think with like early season offensive line stuff, I think you got to like again kind of grain of salt. They're trying to gel. With the offensive line, it's unique. It's 5 guys that have to move in the same direction or the right direction at the right time. Like a marching band, and it's hard to get there. It's repetition. They're all new quarterbacks, different quarterbacks. Trust me, if they had a quarterback that was consistent, this would help as well. Same snap count, same expectations, same abilities. So that changes it a little bit too. But yeah, I would agree. They need to find the right starting 5. I'm hoping that I was very high on their offseason moves. So hopefully that turns out. And I'm glad Elgton Jenkins is playing center, because I think that's absolutely the right move, as we kind of have talked on multiple times.
Yeah. And we're 22 minutes in, and we've just been talking about my favorite team, the Browns. So let's spread the love a little bit. Let's dive into the Bengals here. I know we're going to be talking with our guest here in 8 minutes about the Lions. So is there anything that's exciting you about the Bengals? I mean, I kind of feel like it's the exact same. I feel the exact same way as I did at the beginning of before preseason started, like as I do right now.
Yeah. Is there a team that is more like dependent on health than the Bengals? I mean, they could be 3-14 or 14-3. We can make a case both ways, and it's like there's not many teams like that, and it's a lot of it for me is just like, hold on, wait and see. Like, can we get there? And it's every day at practice. You're just hoping you don't get the report. At least I'm hoping I don't get the report that Joe Burrow's hurt or that Dexter Lawrence, nicked a toenail or something. You don't want to get those reports. But watching the game, the Lions and the Bengals, it was boring. It's preseason football, but it did spark a question, and this is an impromptu middle of the show. Jose or No Way or Jose.
Oh, let's go.
Are you ready for this?
Absolutely.
Josh Johnson, backup quarterback. You know my love of backup quarterbacks. I'm going to remind you if you forget every episode, so just be prepared for that. Has been in the league for quite a while.
Okay.
He has been, No Way or Jose, on 14 different NFL rosters.
Damn. Do you want me to spill a little truth serum right now? I don't even know who that is.
Wow.
That is crazy. I know he hasn't played for the Browns. So we're down to 31 teams. 14 teams?
14 rosters. So it could be multiple teams over again. No Way or Jose.
And when you say rosters, like you're talking about the 53-man?
Or practice. Yeah.
Or practice? Oh, well, that's believable, but still kind of crazy. I'm going to go No Way.
So you're right. The actual answer is 24.
Oh!
24.
Wow.
And he's played for like some teams that were the Taco Bell Ranch Cats and stuff. Like he's played for some really like UFL, USFL.
I was just going to ask.
SALFL, like TIAA, CREF-FL. Like he's been like all over the place. But yeah, 24.
What about the Canadian Football League?
I want to say he at least had a cup of coffee in Canada.
Damn, dude. That's got to be a hell of a career for a backup for you're holding a clipboard. How many, do you know how much money he's made as a backup quarterback?
I don't, but it has got to be a decent amount of money. And look, everyone knows the name Josh Johnson besides my podcast host. So he is he's got a locker in every city, it seems. So, but yeah, he's the Bengals backup quarterback. So I thought I'd throw that in today because as I was reading through like the stat line and kind of the box score, I'm like, oh, Josh Johnson. He attempted, I think, the most passes in the game. So that was nice to
Oh my
see.
gosh.
But there just wasn't a lot to learn from the game. I think the Lions were, oh, Sir Purr, the real deal. Sir Purr, our very fine producer, has come up with an
Ooh,
answer to Brian's question. I would imagine this is using AI, so depending on what AI agent you use, take this as what it is. But 13.4 million in career earnings for the one Josh Johnson.
that's pretty
Not a
sweet.
bad
That's
life.
that's $1 million a year, right? You said 14 years,
I think
but
it's 24 teams. It was 14 teams.
mm,
Regardless, it's a lot of money. It's more money than we have. So we can
oh, speak for yourself.
pool our resources. Well, you do have a Johnny Manziel's jersey, so I mean,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, he was drafted in 2008, so he's been playing for dang near 20 years, man,
that's
and he's still on an active roster.
he is, and he might throw some meaningful passes at some point this year.
I
Um,
don't think he will. I mean, the reality that both Joe Burrow and Joe Flacco both are out. I don't know. You better talk about backup quarterbacks. They're
is
signing
that
somebody before they rely on him.
is that the oldest quarterback room in the history of quarterbacks? Like quarterback rooms?
Oh,
Flacco, Burrow, and Johnson.
oh, yeah. And then Sean Clifford right now is the fourth quarterback, but he'll get cut.
They
That's
only
just
keep
that's
him
just a
around
camp
because he's
farm.
from Cincinnati. That's the only reason he's even there.
Well, the other thing about the Bengals that my Bengals insider, let's just say, told me that the offensive line was going to be like money this year, and that we needed to quit. Like I found some graphic about that Joe Burrow has taken the most sacks in his first 4 years than any other quarterback in the history, and he's like, "Oh, calm down. The offensive line is fixed. It's fine." And they look like hot trash
Yeah.
against again, not in a preseason game. So
No starters either for the. I mean, Hutchinson didn't play. You didn't have a lot of the Derek Moore didn't play. So I mean, it's like I agree. Like, but again, it comes go back to the exact same thing I talked about with the Browns about an offensive line. The difference is though, this is the same system and a lot of returning guys. So it's like that is more concerning to me than with Brown's situation. But and they got to get that front unit figured out because if not, like Joe Burrow takes as many hits as he has his career and he's running for his life, like you're doing nothing but a disservice to that man and his contract. I mean, put some money in front of it. Put some people. They've invested the picks just with the wrong people. Amarius Mims is the huge, like biggest person in the history of the world. Like he is massive. It's like teach the guy how to stand there in front of another human being. Like I get it's not that easy, but still, man.
yeah, and Orlando Brown Jr. didn't play very good either on Saturday.
They
So
have to they have they have to have like the biggest offensive line. Like they're averaging like six and a half. Like they're huge human beings.
I got a proposition. Then they should definitely get Dylan Gabriel as a backup quarterback to replace Josh Johnson as third on the depth chart.
Dude, the quarterback sneak would be awesome. You would never
Oh
have
yeah,
seen them.
that's kind of why I like Dylan Sampson. Like it's like every once in a while you just see he just comes through. Like he's just this tiny little running back, and all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, he got 15 yards because you couldn't see him.
I liked him at Tennessee. I thought he was a good player at Tennessee. I'm hoping he has a decent career in the NFL. But yeah, it's you guys. The Browns are definitely not taking the size. The guys of size.
No. Well, and the only other thing I was going to ask you, I mean, right now their depth chart for running backs is Chase Brown, P. Ryan, and then Taj Brooks and Gary Brightwell. I saw some articles like linking them to some free agent running backs. I mean, we talked about that a couple weeks ago. Are they really worth it? Probably not. Right? Like
Yeah.
names that sounded good a long time ago, like Nick Chubb, and
Yeah. At
but
this point, you're waiting for like a team to cut a guy.
mm,
At this point, you're waiting for that. You're waiting for a fourth guy that just gets squeezed out of a room. You're looking for a third string guy because P Ryan's good enough. I think he's a good enough backup change of pace, big dude. Like that's the kind of guy you want. As a change of pace role. Typically, Chase Brown, good receiving back out of the backfield. I think he's had some injuries, I think, over the last couple of years that have kind of hampered him. Hopefully he's over that. But he's got to show that he can share or take a big lion's share of the load this year and do do well with it. But that is a concern. And again, all of this and this goes back to like when Tony Romo, our favorite drinker, was our bar buddy Romo was quarterback of the Cowboys. They always talked about like Romo friendly offense, like Romo friendly offense. We need players all around Romo that play well with Romo. He's an improviser, all this yada yada. Same thing with Dak Prescott. We need Dak friendly players. The Bengals so badly need Burrow friendly players. And that starts with just someone that can block and then someone in the backfield that can consistently get 3.5, 4 yards at a consistently. So I think if we can figure that out in Cincinnati, we're going to be having a pretty good year. And I know our guest last week said, or 2 weeks ago said 14 wins. I don't know about all that, but
well, to be fair, he didn't see the first preseason game. Not that that's the end all be all, but I don't think that gave anybody the warm and fuzzies in Cincinnati.
I would agree.
Yeah. Do you want to sneak in real quick the giveaway?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do that. As our guest is it should be joining us here any minute. But so as I'm gonna steal the Real Deal's job here for 2 seconds, if I can even find it. Holy cow! So we did a little giveaway. So for a Tim Couch signed 8x10 photo, we had some requirements to do on Twitter. We got a decent amount of followers and retweets and all that stuff. So we appreciate all the love on that. We'll stop you guys from having to wait anymore. Let's see if we can do. I don't know how well you can see on this. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a name, and then we're going to draw a backup name because sometimes we do these giveaways and we try to get a hold of these people on Twitter, and they never respond. So in the event that the first person doesn't respond, we will pick a second name just in case that person doesn't respond, and we'll do that. So you can see my screen there. Let's see. Give her a nice little spinny spin, and all right, Don D Forte _ Congratulations, Don. Appreciate you. Appreciate your support. The Real Deal, you mind writing this down for me?
And Don, part of that package, you're also getting an autographed picture of Brian and I as well. For being such a loyal listener to the show, it's gonna be hung up on the wall next to your Tim Couch photo, I'm sure.
What more could any fan ask for? I mean,
I would agree.
I mean, that's worth way more than any Tim Couch thing. So, all right, and then for just in case, for a second runner-up, in case Don doesn't answer us, we have got. Oh man, he almost got a double dipper. One below. Aiden W. So hopefully you guys are listening. Appreciate you. And again, thanks for the support, and to everybody that participated. Hopefully we'll get some more giveaways going real soon. And then one last thing, since I have forgotten to do my due diligence at the beginning of the show, let's talk a little bit about Dubby. Today's stream is powered by Dubby Energy. Get clean, crash-free energy with great flavors, ingredients designed for focus and performance. Head to Dubby Energy and use code NETWORK216 to save on your 10% off your first order of Dubby Energy. Fuel your day. Woo!
Thank you, Dubby. I could have used some today, man. I was in a class all day, 9 hours. I was sitting there like craving some Dubby. Get me through this.
We got to get you a package. I keep talking about this every week, and I keep forgetting to do that. Well, why don't we dive in? I'm not sure where our guest is. He might be having some trouble or something, but he should be in any minute. But why don't we touch on? You want to touch on maybe the Lions a little, or the Cowboys a little bit, or you want to start with the Lions and let him jump in the middle of it?
Let's hold off on the Lions. I want to get his perspective, and I don't want to taint the audience's perspective on the Lions with our expert guest coming on. So we can pivot to the Cowboys here for a little bit. And boy, have they been fun.
Yeah, they have.
Rock'em Sock'em Robot. They cannot stop fighting. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. And I was all, yeah, wow.
Good grief.
Kudos to that. It's always a bald guy. It's always a bald guy in the middle of it. Look, put that back up. Sir, put that back up. I'm going to just highlight. The bald guy without the helmet. Of course. Of course. That's a strength and conditioning coach if I've ever seen one. That might be the get back coach. So we'll table the rest of the Cowboys talk, for in a couple of minutes, but I will just point this out. They got to stop fighting because Donovan Ezaraku is supposed to be a big part of this team this year. He's a defensive end, outside linebacker, kind of an edge player. He has now been kicked out of 2 practices for throwing punches, one at his own teammate, one at a Saints player. I believe that is what we're looking at here. So they this week signed Von Miller. Awesome. What position does Von Miller play? The same as Donovan Ezaraku. Donovan Ezaraku is a second-round pick last year. Buddy, stop punching people. We need y'all. This is the revamped defense, and they're getting chippy. This goes back to the whole change in culture that I've been talking about that I thought was happening. I hate to say it. Right now, it might be looking like the same old Cowboys. Love saying that.
Well, you know what? When you've got Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner's son, out there on the New Orleans Saints, just throwing people in suplexes, throwing them to the ground.
Throw him out the club. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, he's taking care of business, dude. He's taking care of business.
That's a swamper from southern Louisiana if I've ever seen one. Oh.
All right, well, that's enough. That wraps up our Cowboys stuff. Right. Just kidding. So let's bring on, we've got a gentleman joining us for the first time on the Rust Belt Rivalry podcast. He is a co-host of the Roar of the Lions UK podcast. They also have a blog where you can find him and 7 other Detroit Lions fans from across the UK talking and writing about their favorite NFL franchise. He sold his soul to the Lions in 2015 and struggled with heartbreak for a long time. But then in 2023, 2024, as most people know, they won the NFC North, much like Jon Snow won the North. Anthony Fitzpatrick, welcome on in, buddy. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, thanks. Can you hear me all right over there?
We got you. Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. It's always good to chat with people over the pond. We really appreciate it.
Yes, we're so excited to talk Lions with you. I am the resident Lion expert on this podcast, so it's really nice to have a friendly face that may know more than me about the Lions. So that is your key to be our Lions expert.
I will try not to let you down.
Yeah. So I got to ask. So quick background on myself. So I grew up about 45 minutes from Ford Field. And I have had Lions season tickets with my family since about 2002, 2003. Whenever they moved into Ford Field, I've had season tickets with my family. And I just got to ask, man, why did you pick the Lions? I have been going, and I mean, this is honest. So I split the season tickets with my sister. And I went 4 consecutive seasons going to 4 games a year, and I didn't see a win for 4 consecutive seasons. So, what brought you to this Lions fandom all the way over in the UK? Give it to me.
So we get asked this a lot. We actually had to make a video on this so that we could just kind of send people to it as and when. But I think the overall thing for me, it was purely by chance. When I was younger, teenager, growing up, I used to listen to Motown religiously. Used to love Motown music. Soul music obviously came from Detroit, and it was synonymous with that. And that was kind of my one big gateway into American culture, as it were. And I didn't know too much at the time, so I kind of adopted Detroit as my city over there. And then eventually, when the time came when I started watching the NFL and getting into the NFL a bit more, I looked and I'm like, oh, Detroit as a team. So naturally it felt like, okay, I will go and support their team because that's the city that I root for type of thing. And it kind of just started as that. And then as time went on and I kind of learned the horror story that the franchise was and everything, it kind of clicked to me because it reminded me of very much of my situation over here with my soccer team. So you won't know them. I'm from a place called Chesterfield in Derbyshire. They are a Division 4 side. They're a very small side. 5,000-6,000 fans go every week, and it's kind of one of those where you do it for the love of the game. You don't do it for wins. There are a lot of bad years, and there's a lot of heartache with it all. But what it does is it creates this sort of bond, this community in the fan base where you do it for the love of the game. You're not in it for glory hunting. You're not in it for the wins. You're in it for the love of the sport, really. And when I sort of took the situation of that into account with what the Lions fan base is, we do it for the love of the game. Obviously, we haven't done it for the wins and the Super Bowls, but it creates a very community-like atmosphere there. And I just thought it kind of was almost like fate that, you know, my sporting experience over here kind of intertwined with them. And from then on, you know, we went straight ahead with it. And, you know, it's been exactly as we thought. The Lions fan base has been very welcoming to us. It is very community orientated. We all do it for the love of the game. And, you know, the rest is history. We've been through some really rough times with them, but we'll stick with them through the rough times and now through the good times. So yeah, that was kind of it, really, just a chance encounter, music and a bit of stuff. And yeah, it's full blown fandom now.
Nice.
That is awesome to hear. Now, have you ever been to a game here in the States?
No, I'm coming over. I think it's next year. I am. We're all going to Germany in November for the Patriots game for that. But I'm coming over next year for one because I'm a massive college football fan as well. So I'm coming over for sort of 10 days and I'm going to take in a lot of college ball while I'm there, as well as the Lions, couple of Lions games as well. So I want to do the whole shebang when I come over. So yeah, we'll be there soon.
Which
awesome.
Which colleges are you looking at going to?
I mean, it depends. Obviously, I have to look at who's in the vicinity of Michigan and that. So, I mean, I'm always very harsh towards Michigan because being a Lions fan and being a draft enthusiast, Michigan prospects tend to get very overblown and overflated when it comes to our fans. So I've kind of, and I know there's an Ohio State fan here, and yeah, it is, but I have to deal with them through a harsher lens. So naturally, you know, I'm a little bit more skeptical, but, you know, the smaller teams, like, I love MAC football. Go over to Ypsilanti and see Eastern Michigan. I'm a big fan of the Crate Train, Chris Creighton there, and it's probably taken a few others. But I am an NC State fan, so I would love to get down to the Carolinas and see them as well. But yeah, I just love it in general. So whatever is good. We're going to Arizona State, Kansas in London in a few weeks, so that'll be fun. But yeah, we've got to take in the whole route while we're here.
Well, here's what we're gonna do, man. You're on the right show because we're gonna take you to a Toledo Rockets football game, a MAC game, and then we're gonna drive you up the road and we're gonna take you to a Lions game, and we're gonna skip that Michigan stuff. We're gonna go right around the University of Michigan, and that's what we're gonna do.
I love my action, so that's fine. That's fine with me.
Perfect. We got plenty of action where we're from, buddy.
Well, so let me ask you this. 5-6 years ago, the Lions made a blockbuster trade, basically a quarterback swap. How did you feel when you guys traded away Matt Stafford and received Goff back as compensation? Were you excited?
I would be lying if I said yes. Obviously, we've grown up with Stafford. He's all we've ever pretty much known at the quarterback position there. And, you know, he was very much the heart and soul of the community. So it was tough to see him go. At the same time, I understand why they did it. It was just not his time to be here. He needed to be somewhere where the team was ready to win, and we weren't ready to do that. So obviously the first round picks were very welcome. You know, we were at rock bottom. We had the worst roster in the NFL. You want as many first round picks as you can to replenish. So we were happy with that. We got the third as well. With Goff, it was kind of, he's part of the deal. We'll see what happens with him. At worst, he'll provide us a good bridge option until we can use one of them first round picks on a quarterback if we want to. So, I believe the trade worked out very well for both teams because what we've accumulated, the picks, the players that trade as a whole and the picks we've traded for them, it's one of those rare ones where both teams benefited exponentially from it. So it was hard to see him go, but at the same time, it was the right decision and it was a good return for him. And it's proven to be an even better return with how Jared Goff has done. So yeah, necessary.
Fair.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that feel that way, and there's still a lot of love in Detroit for Stafford and his family and what he, had to put up with those years. It was pretty. Those were pretty bad years. I mean, they had some good teams, they had some good players, but Detroit's known for burning out their stars, and I'm glad he got out before they burned him out too. So let me ask you this: let's bring it back to present day, and the 2026 Lions. What's your outlook here? So I personally think that the defense is scary. I think that, to me, there's not a lot of depth. I think I worry about injuries and injury history. It's one of the more injured rosters in the NFL, and they haven't done a lot to change that, I feel, in the offseason. So don't let my negative bias change your your opinion and outlook. But what do you think, sitting here in 6 months, what do we think the Lions looked like?
I mean, the thing is, we have our core set, which is the critical thing for any team. We have our core players, and for the most part, they're all healthy now, and you build the team around them. And you're right, we've kind of struggled to build the depth around them, because when you spend what is now over £1 billion on your core players and their contracts, you don't have much to spend elsewhere on the rest of your roster. As you can see, the vets you have to let go, and we've struggled with that. But I come into this season with some sense of confidence. I mean, this team, ever since Jared Goff came, ever since Dan Campbell came, every time they've, faced adversity, a challenge in the road, they've always overcome it and taken the next step forward. The first year where we were really awful and, we ended up winning 3 of the last 6 games, and you just saw a little bit of a spark there. Then in the second year, they started learning how to win games. And then we got crushed by Carolina just before we got to the playoffs. So they weren't quite ready. But then the next year, they bounced back. They won the NFC North, went far in the playoffs. And, it's just every time they've faced that bit of adversity, they've bounced back. And last year was really the first year they took a step backwards. I know the Washington loss a couple of years ago wasn't good, but we got a first seed for the first time ever. We won 15 games. You still took a step forward, but, their back's been up against the wall. As you say, they've been very injured, which has not helped. And, it's really disrupted them. But when you have the core that we do, we have a settled quarterback, we have some star players who can carry us on a given day, the culture, the identity we have, you're most of the way there. It's just trying to figure out everything around it. And I was worried about the depth coming into preseason. I'm not going to lie. There were areas, running back, tight ends, linebackers, corners, safeties, obviously, with the 2 been out there. But preseason's been very, very encouraging so far, specifically the game we played against the Bengals the other day as well. The running backs have really come to the fore. Jacob Saylor's had a really good game, looked excellent. So did Jabari Small. They provide good backup for Isaiah Pacheco and Jahmyr Gibbs. That room's fighting itself out. You've got Sione Vaki in there as well, obviously coming back from his injury, but a lot is expected of him. So you've suddenly got a room that's looking a little bit deeper now. Your linebackers, the addition of Devin White is huge for this team. It's huge because one of the big problems we've had is not getting into the backfield. Obviously, we were 5th in sacks last year, but we're 30th in tackles for loss. Against the run, you need guys who can blitz those A-gaps, can get the negative plays, put your defense in a better position to succeed. His arrival into the linebacker room has spurred on everyone around him. You've got guys who've come in this year, rookies. Eric Hunter, our HBCU prospect's been doing really well. Trevor Nowaski, guys like that on the outside there's a real big competition for those spots now. Obviously, you've got Jack Campbell, one of the best in the league at what he does. Derek Barnes signed up to a good deal. Malcolm Rodriguez just back from his injury. He's fully healthy now. The depth has looked good, and there were a lot of encouraging signs in that game. So I'm confident going into this year, we've got a good schedule for a change. We're not playing the first place schedule like we've done the last 3 years in a row. Those first 5 weeks, we've got Arizona, the Jets, a banged up Panthers team, a banged up Saints team. You know, it's going to be able to let us settle in some of these guys, get some of the injured guys back up to full speed, get the offensive line going. So I'm quietly very confident with the schedule we've got and the fact that most of the team, bar our safeties now, is healthy. So yeah, it's obviously we've got to wait and see. But from what I've seen of the team, from how they react to bad situations, how they react to setbacks, I've no doubt they're going to recover from last year very quickly and be the dangerous team we know they will be again.
So Are you willing to say they're going to win the North? Are you willing to put your name on that?
Yeah, I will. So me, as I say, there's 6 of us on our pod, or 7, or depending on what we do. I'm the one who talks the most trash on ours, by a long way. It's one thing I've discovered about myself doing this, but none of the other 3 rosters in the NFC North come close to ours. And I say that with a straight face in terms of we've got a much bigger, better, younger core than the other 3 of them put together. Last year, we did struggle, but even with a banged up defense and, you know, one of the most historically injured defenses ever, we still swept Chicago. You know, Green Bay struggled to put us away. The Vikings struggled to put us away. We swept them all the year before that, going 6-0. So, you know, we just had our setback last year, but at the end of the day, Chicago's been playing a 4th place schedule for 4 years in a row now. They were playing the Browns, the Raiders, just a whole assortment of nobodies last year. We've got an easier schedule this time, but we have a more talented team, so I fully expect us to regain it and win it. Green Bay are way overrated. The Bears are gonna have that second year. Like, the league's figured them out now, or it will have figured them out. They've got to adapt to it, but they'll have that period. And the Vikings can't settle on a quarterback, and neither of them are very good. We're very good against Kyler Murray. So, you know, I think we're going to win it comfortably. I do believe that.
I love that. I love the confidence.
And so I'm curious. So eliminate like the household names like Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hutchinson, like Goff. Who is a player that you think this year could break out? I mean, you know, have a breakout season. Maybe that's like Tesla, or, you know, is it maybe a rookie like Derek Moore? You already mentioned the Michigan players that you guys love so much. Or maybe Keith Abney, or, you know, who do you see, you know, maybe a rookie or whoever, you know, who do you think is going to have a breakout season and really surprise us all?
Well, that's a tough one, because I'm very big on our draft this year. I think I'll give a couple of answers here. In terms of the ones who we've spent good picks on, I think this is certainly going to be Tyleik Williams' year at defensive tackle. You know, and I'm going to straight up say he wasn't the best tackle available to us at that point there. He was not high on my board last year, but he's going to be, now that we've got no nose tackle, he's going to be our sort of more interior one tech, 2 tech, who's going to be really good against the run for us. He was at Ohio State. He was tremendous there. He was able to learn from DJ Reader last year, a great mentor for him. He's got Aleem McNeil playing next to him fully healthy again this season. And he was able to just rotate in enough last year without too much pressure being on him. He's got the NFL experience now, and that spot is his to take. And, you know, from what I've seen, he's going to be our run defense force this year, the one who stops them all getting through. And he's explosive, violent. I'm looking forward to seeing him this year really start to fulfill his potential as a starter. I think they handled him really well last year. Outside of that, in terms of the rookies, I mean, it's all very dependent. Like you said, you've mentioned Keith Abney in a big fight at the minute with Roger McCreary for that nickel spot. He is an outside corner. I would prefer he play at outside corner. I don't like moving players around and out of positions. I believe in playing them where the best at, even if they don't fit the physical profile. But he's exactly what we need, sort of this really aggressive press coverage corner. We've given receivers too much of an easy run against us in recent years. We've had no one good at the line of scrimmage, who can get into a receiver's grill and wind them up and make them feel uncomfortable. We've been way too soft in our coverage. I love him. I think he's exactly what we need here. And if he gets plenty of reps, people will learn about him very, very quickly. Skylar Gill-Howard is another defensive tackle. Again, the Lions have put a lot of emphasis in recent years on run first defenders, and it's made us, it's been very tough. Our defensive line's been good against the run, but it's not been good at getting to the quarterback. And like I say, making those negative plays in the backfield, we need someone who's more of an explosive defensive tackle. And we've had so many injuries to Levi Onwuzurike at this point, who was meant to be that guy. Now having Skylar Gill-Howard in, now that he's healthy from his injury, you've seen him in preseason, he's popping off in camp. He is that interior pass rushing threat who we lack sorely, who can collapse a pocket. And, you know, he did it at Northern Illinois. He did it for a little bit at Texas Tech before his injury. And no one's really watching him at this moment in time. And our D tackle room will take him as a depth player. And if he gets his opportunity, he's going to pop big time early. And I'm really looking forward to seeing him play as well this year. So yeah, I think he would be certainly the outside one I'd look for. But Tyleek's the one I'm really looking for this year again at defensive tackle, to be that figurehead for us going forward, to free Aleem McNeil up to be the better pass rusher that he can be, and let him do what he does best. So those will be the two there. And then I guess offensively, I mean, you're looking at the line here. Tate Ratledge going into year 2. I loved what Tate did last year. I thought he was really good, contrary to some opinions. He had one bad game against Philadelphia, and how many interior offensive linemen have a bad day against Philadelphia because of that line? They all do. But him in year 2 with a more settled center next to him now, obviously Blake Miller on his side. Those two are going to be road graders, and he's just, I want to keep him there. He's a Lions player through and through. And I think, like Tyleek, you're going to see him really come into the fore this year as a trenchman who's had his year, get him ready, who's going to take that big leap forward. And I like my trench guys. I'm a big trench warfare guy. So, I'm looking forward to seeing him get going again. I think he could be one of the best guards in the league in a few years. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing year 2 for him.
Love those picks. I would agree. I think Dan Campbell spent a lot of time investing in big people, like get good big people in here. And that was his whole philosophy since he got there. That's the kind that's Dan Campbell through and through. So that leads me to our final question. And I want to ask this because I have an opinion of Dan Campbell, but my opinion changes, I think, from week to week, because I love what he does and then I hate what he does. And I've seen him overthink what the whole saying, if you can't go broke taking a profit. Well, Dan Campbell doesn't believe in that. And he's lost some very important games by, I think, being too much of a gambler. So my question to you is, what is your quick opinion on Dan Campbell? And do you like the gambler, or would you like him to be more conservative?
I love him. I don't want another head coach of the Detroit Lions ever. Like, I just don't I think it would be hard for me to love a head coach as much as I love him at this point now. For me, I love the gambler, and, that whole vision came about when we were a 3-win team and we were really bad. The whole point of the whole gambling aspect of it was because you had a young team, young offense, you throw your young rookies in there. When it came to high pressure situations, critical fourth downs, game time moments, those years where we were really heavy on going for it, by doing that all the time, it instills the confidence in your offense to go out there and, execute when it's at its most critical moment. I remember when Matt Patricia was here and he had Stafford, and the amount of times on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, he'd bring the offense off, and you'd look at Stafford's face and he was, he just had no trust in his head coach whatsoever. And he had more than enough talent to be able to convert those situations, where with our current offense, the belief he has in them to go out there in these situations and convert is why they're so good at what they do. And I think his one fault, if any, is that he went away from that. he started trying to act more like a traditional head coach. And, I think some of the noise got to him about the aggressiveness and that. And in doing so, if you're not willing to go all in on that aggressive philosophy and you start just second guessing yourself a bit, that's where the issues and the inconsistency come in. And I would rather him go back to his aggressive philosophy of the past, because the team convert. We've got the playmakers. We've now hopefully got the offensive line as well, because that also didn't help. Obviously Frank Ragnar's retirement just threw a spanner into everything. And, part of the reason we were so good on fourth downs is the offensive line held out long enough. Now that you've fixed that, or hopefully you've fixed it, you can go back to that aggressive way again. That was our identity and what it was. I don't like vanilla Dan. I like aggressive Dan. I like the way he plays football that way, because other teams then, you could see the looks in their faces when a team gets you to fourth down, they're like, right, we're going to go off, punt, we're done. With us, it's, oh my God, they're still coming at us again and again and again. They're not letting us rest. And that's how you would beat and overwhelm teams. And that's what he needs to get back to again. So I love him. I love the aggressive philosophy. I think he was hampered last year by the fact that we had a rubbish offensive coordinator. He had to take on those duties, and that interfered with his duties as a head coach, which is why I think you've got two guys this year in Petzing and Mike Kafka. If it goes south with Drew Petzing, Mike Kafka can step in and run the offense as well as need be, rather than putting Dan into that situation. So, I just hope it runs smoothly so he can focus on being a head coach. Because I think he's a good one when he's allowed to do so, but he's been traditionally at his worst when the offensive coordinators, Anthony Lynn, like last year, they get fired and he has to take on offensive duties as well. It's just a bit too much for him. But no, I love him overall, and I don't want anything to change. And I never want him to leave.
I agree.
Well, that's one vote of confidence from Anthony from UK. We're keeping
Absolutely.
Dan Campbell.
Nobody wants. I agree with him. Nobody wants vanilla Dan Campbell. Come on, jeez.
No, it's what makes him what he is, and it's his identity as a head coach. So he needs to stick with that. He don't try and become one of these analytics guys. Otherwise, just go for it. Trust your offense, and the team will follow through for it, and that aggression will win you games. Yeah, it'll lose you the odd one, but when it comes to putting the chips in the high pressure situations, we're the ones who'll win more often than not.
Love it. 100% agree. All right. Well, Anthony, we appreciate you, man. We've taken a lot of your time. Thanks for joining us. Can you please, before you leave, tell our fans, tell everybody watching where they can find you, how we can support you, and all that stuff? Yeah,
well, as I say, thank you for having me on. We really appreciate it. The fact that people want to come and talk to a podcast over in the UK, especially, you guys from over there, is humbling to us. We started this as 5 guys sat around on a Zoom call, just putting up episodes, hoping we'd get like three listens per episode, and that was us listening back to it and one of the guys' mums. We've come a long way, but I appreciate you and letting me come on here. But yeah, you can find us at Roar of the Lions UK, as mentioned. We are a podcast from England. We are a bunch of diehard Detroit Lions fans who are absolutely passionate about the NFL and the team in general. We have to be, for people to take us seriously. We have to know what we're talking about, and we have to put in a lot of effort to it. So you can find us there if you ever want to hear about your Lions news and views. We're live on Mondays. I do a college football podcast on Wednesdays. Like I say, I'm a diehard, been doing it for half a decade now. So if you like your college ball, you can come chat college football with us. And generally I'll do a Q&A and that over the weekend as well, just like a relaxed setting thing, so that you can come and ask your questions on. And we also, obviously, we're live on game days, getting commentaries, previews, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, you can find us at Roar of the Lions UK. Thank you again for having us on. I really appreciate it. And it's good to chat with you all. And I was listening earlier, and I empathise with Browns fans in the room. We've been there, we've done that. For what it's worth, I loved some of your recent drafts. You draft a lot of players that I like. You just need to sort that quarterback situation out, and there might be something there. So good luck to you.
Thanks, man. We'll look forward to maybe hearing from you later on during the season when we can make sure that all your predictions come true.
Well, we're here whenever. If you want us, just come calling. If you need Lions stuff, we are right here for you. So, I appreciate it anyhow. You take care, all. Have a great day.
Forward down the field.
Thanks.
Absolutely. F the Bears. There we go.
See you,
Oh, thanks, Anthony. Oh man, what a great guess! Holy cow, man! He's got
I
more
didn't know we
knowledge
could-
about the Lions than I think anybody.
He might,
Than maybe you.
I mean, come on. I'm kidding, but yeah, he might know more than like Sheila Hamp Ford, the owner. I mean, he's got a lot going for it. That's awesome. I hopefully we can have him back on because I think he's going to be a good guest.
I just love your guys' extreme optimism. Like I'm like, man, he is simpatico with you on like the Bears. There's no chance. Where I'm like, I'm pretty confident that unfortunately Ben Johnson took a lot of the hype that you guys had. But I love the optimism.
I'm more on your side. I think the Bears are going to win the division, and I think the Lions might. I don't think the Lions are going to have a great year. I really don't. You heard it here
really?
first. I don't think they're going to have a good year. I think. My thing is the Packers are not going to be as good as people think the Packers are going to be, but we won't get into that because I don't have an hour.
Yeah, we know how much you hate Jordan Love. Good grief.
Yeah. Whew, he's on my list.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, what do you want to touch on anything else, Cowboys? I mean, we've gone a little bit over. I could still go for a little bit longer if you want. I mean, is there anything Cowboys you want to touch on? We kind of neglected them today.
You know, it's okay. It's America's team, but it's not the Rust Belt's team. So we can neglect them this week. That's fine. But I will say this. You know, look, I'm still very optimistic about what the defense is doing. I did watch a little bit of the game against Seattle. Still a lot of penalties to clean up. They got to get the backup running back situation figured out. I think that's maybe more of a concern right now than people might want to be talking about. Jaden Blue's hurt. I don't know if they have really a second guy that I would trust with the ball in his hand. Maybe Phil Maffa, but I mean, Phil Moffitt didn't even start at Clemson when he was there. So it's like, you know, I don't know. There's a lot to figure out. There's a couple weeks left to go. I think they're in line to sign a free agent running back that gets let go from the roster. I'm really excited about the Von Miller signing. I think that's been in the works for a while now. I mean, he's been at camp for like 2.5 weeks as like a photographer, like taking pictures. So if you follow him on Instagram. So I'm pretty sure that this has been in the cards. I hope this isn't because they are in desperate need of pass rush. I hope this is the sprinkle on top and not like expected to be what Jadeveon Clowney was to them last year, which was their number one sack producer. So there's a lot to be determined with the Cowboys. I think it's a lot of wait and see though. And hopefully they just stop punching each other for a while. I mean, that would be helpful to get through a full friggin' practice. Donovan Ezeraku, that would be nice. But I'm still bullish. I think they're gonna have a good year. I think they're gonna have a good year still. I think the Lions are gonna have an average year, even though Anthony believes otherwise. So that's my Cowboys takes in 3 minutes because we spent it on the Rust Belt team. So it's a full Rust Belt podcast. Do you want to talk more Browns quarterbacks?
I would love to, but you know, we don't need to get into that. We've got all year to talk about Browns quarterbacks. I'm sure that'll take up a great amount of our discussion. But there was a college football topic that you wanted to dive into.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah, so tell everybody, because this is not something that just like is coming across my Twitter or anywhere that like I normally get my information from. So tell us a little bit about what's going on for those that don't know.
Yes, so there's a new college football ruling that every player gets 5 years regardless. So basically the red shirting is done. And so some players that are currently on NFL rosters, whether they are high on that roster or not, most of them, I think it's 16 people right now, which were all undrafted free agents, had sued the NCAA for eligibility. And they probably, and I don't have all the background information on this, but essentially my assumption is they filed this lawsuit probably pre-draft. Once they figured out they weren't going to be drafted, there is no decision made during the process, so they go to the NFL, and they're currently on NFL rosters. One of them, in fact, had 2 sacks the other night for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And today, about 4 hours ago, they were all granted a temporary restraining order saying that they are now eligible for now to return to college football. Now, the caveat being if they didn't enter their name into the transfer portal before the transfer portal window closed, whatever that was, I forget that whole process, that they have to return to the team that they left. So, for example, Jack Pyburn, whatever his last name is, he was a LSU Tiger by way of Florida. He was a situational pass rusher. This is the guy who had the 2 sacks for Tampa. He can go back to LSU, or he can try to make the roster, the 53 or the practice roster for Tampa. So there's 16 guys out here that have a decision to make. My assumption is a lot of them are going to go back to college, and this temporary restraining order might get lifted, and then they're ineligible. So it's a mess. I want to bring this up because it really it annoys me greatly, like kind of where our sports headed from a college football standpoint. I love college football, and now it's bleeding into the NFL. It's kind of like this whole NBA situation where you have guys in the G League going back to college. It's like one or the other. Like I get that NIL, you can make money in NIL. It's great. There's rev sharing in these different conferences, but like we gotta have some guardrails and guidelines because it's like I said, it's August 19th. Roster cutdowns in like 10 days, 12 days. Like, what are we doing? The Buckeyes take the field in like 17 days. Like, you cannot join a roster in 17 days. Like, this is a mess. So that's my rant. But it's we got to figure something out. Do you want to make Brian and I the commissioner of college football? I would gladly take that job.
I don't know that we want that job. Actually, that sounds like a lose-lose situation. No matter what decisions you make, you're probably going to get just dumped on for it.
Oh, my decisions would be so right though, Brian. Like it doesn't matter. Like I would make all the right decisions.
Just like the Philadelphia Eagles fans think of all your takes.
Hey, they're Eagles fans.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I'm not as hyped up about it as you. Now, ever since like COVID and then the NIL, I feel like anybody that's drafted like the 5th round or later, it's such a flyer. Like there's just not a whole lot of depth now that kids like can stay in school extra years while making millions or at least hundreds of thousands. So a couple undrafted free agents that are like, man, I don't even know if I'm going to make the team. If I could go back for another year and make, I don't know, $500,000 over like possibly having to bag groceries to make ends meet next week, like I would do it.
But okay, so let me ask you this. So, and I know we're running late here, but like say you're, let's not make you Lane Kiffin because that guy thinks completely differently than everybody else. So let's make you Ryan Day. And so say you had a player on your roster last year that left for the NFL. Your team, you went out to the portal, you recruited, you brought people into your locker room. Your locker room is a completely different environment than it was last year. Different characters, different leaders. 15 days before the season, a guy from your team last year who he wasn't a drafted player, is coming and saying, I can come back and play. Maybe, I don't know for how long, can I come back and play? What's your answer? My answer as, someone who just, is a leader in his own right. Like I'm saying no. Like I've made my decisions. I've constructed my roster. I have told these individuals something. They're melting together as a group. Good luck with yourself. You're an NFL player. Whether you're on a roster or not, good luck.
I lean more towards like, is the talent there? Like, is this guy? I don't know. Maybe third. Does bringing him in put him at like maybe 3rd or 4th on the depth chart? And you said he was on the team last year, so he should still know the playbook because we haven't changed anything on the defensive side, right? Like, there's a lot of factors that go into it. Like, I'm not bringing in a quarterback who doesn't know the new offense, right? But and can't learn it in 15 days, I'm sure. But if it's like a D tackle or a running back or somebody who's kind of more like plug and play and they're doing well on NFL, why not? Like, what? Stuff changes every day. People get injured. People get signed as walk-ons, right? And that takes somebody else's spot who has promised something. All these kids it seems like with the NIL, there's not a whole lot of loyalty to the team or the school. So like, and I feel like the damn coaches have to constantly, sell their team all year round. Like, so if you can make your team just a little bit better and in event of injury be better, why would you not do that?
Yeah, I mean, I can see it both ways. I really can. I think there's.
You can just say I'm right.
It's well, I'm never going to say it right, but it's a situation that you also look at from like historical and like you look at it from like precedent standpoint, and there just isn't any. So it's like, how do you make these decisions because you have nothing to pull information from? So it's a different world we're living in, and it's ever changing. And I just wish that there would be some sort of guardrail or rules for something. And it just seems like there's no rules on anything. And then I mean, it seems like the NCAA's whole thing right now is like, find a local judge who graduated from said school who can benefit from said ruling, and then get them to make the offer a temporary restraining order or issue a restraining order. It's like, okay, cool. This is what we're doing.
It's a game, baby. Just like Jimmy Harbaugh did. You break whatever rules you can to win a championship, and then go on to the Chargers.
You know what? All right, everyone, buckle up. We're going to talk Harbaugh. No, I'm kidding.
No. We'll save that for next week. We've already infuriated the real deal with our not happiness on Michigan.
I love how we bring a guest in all the way from the UK and to shit on Michigan. It was awesome. That was so validating. It just felt really good.
It was amazing. All right, well, let's close it out, Jay. What you want to say anything before we shut her down?
Hey, look, school starts this week or next week, so anyone that has kids starting school, good luck to everybody out there. I know I had some kids starting school, so good luck to everybody. Football is back, or it's closer to being back, I should say. So we're getting there, everybody. Just hold on a couple more weeks, and the games will start to matter.
Oh, yeah, baby. All right, so I just want to say thank you all for listening tonight. Please feel free to like, follow, subscribe. Jump in the comments next week or the week after. We'll be doing this weekly from now on throughout the football season. Just want a quick plug, like, check your mental health, man. If you're having problems, talk to somebody, go find somebody, keep a smile on your face. Life's not over. So let's go. Let's keep it positive. And thank you all for listening in tonight. We love you all.